Hello and welcome to Lecture 6 of the Inform Africa Toolathon series. This is the last lecture of the series. Today, we'll focus on analyzing the relationship between trip production and infected cases. We'll look at how we can connect human mobility data with COVID-19 infection data using linear regression and time lag analysis. We are speaking from Villanova University's Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. I'm Dr. Xin Wu, a research scientist, and I'm joined by Dr. Chenfeng Xiong, assistant professor and principal investigator for Project 2 in this initiative. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Lecture 6 of the Inform Africa Toolathon series. This is the last lecture of the series. Today we'll focus on analyzing the relationship between trip production and infected cases. We'll look at how we can connect human mobility data with COVID-19 infection data using linear regression and time lag analysis. We are speaking from Villanova University's Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. I'm Dr. Xin Wu, a research scientist, and I'm joined by Dr. Chenfeng Xiong, assistant professor and principal investigator for Project 2 in this initiative. Let's get started. Let's begin with a quick review of linear regression. Linear regression helps us model how one variable depends on another. For example, how mobility changes when infection cases rise. It also allows us to predict outcomes based on historical data. Every regression requires three main components: a dependent variable y, an independent variable x, and a line of best fit. We'll also look at goodness of fit metrics like R2 to measure how well the model explains the data. In this first example, our goal is to connect COVID-19 case counts with daily trip data to explore their temporal relationship. We'll merge the two datasets by date and region, then generate plots showing how trips and infection numbers evolve over time. All the required files and code are available in our GitHub repository under the Lecture 6 folder. Here we load both datasets, one for trip production and one for COVID-19 cases. You can see a preview of the data frames on the screen. The trip dataset includes fields like trip num, inner trip num, and coordinates, while the COVID dataset includes daily confirmed cases by region. These two datasets will be merged on their common columns, typically the date and state name. Once merged, we can plot the number of trips and number of COVID cases over time by keeping running the Python code. The red line shows trip numbers and the blue line shows confirmed cases. You can clearly see the inverse trend as cases increased, mobility decreased, especially during major lockdown periods. This visualization helps us intuitively understand behavioral responses to pandemic waves. Here, the Python code takes the analysis a step further by separating inner state and outer state trips. Inner trips represent movements within the same state, while outer trips are cross-state travels. From the chart, we can see that outer state trips dropped sharply when COVID-19 cases surged, reflecting stricter interstate travel restrictions. Meanwhile, inner trips declined less dramatically, suggesting that local activities were relatively resilient. In the second example, we'll explore whether past infection rates affect current mobility using linear regression. We use lagged variables, such as the number of new cases 3 or 5 days before, to see if people reduce travel after hearing about rising infections. We'll build linear regression models to quantify these effects using metrics like trip num, trips per person, and trip miles per person. Please also check the example Python code in the GitHub. We start by loading multiple CSV files containing daily trip data for each state, then combine them into one large data frame. Each record includes daily trip counts, trip distances, and demographic information such as population age structure. By merging all states into a single table, we can perform national-level analysis and later introduce the lagged infection data. This step prepares the dataset for regression analysis. For each state, we sort data by date and create new columns like trips person 1 day before and new cases days ago. This allows us to align today's trips with the number of cases from several days earlier. Finally, we concatenate all state-level results into a cleaned data set ready for statistical modeling. Here's our regression model. We regress daily trip numbers on lagged mobility, yesterday's trips, and lagged COVID cases. The coefficient for trip num 1 day before is very close to 1, meaning mobility is highly autocorrelated. Today's travel is strongly related to yesterday's. The positive but smaller coefficient for new cases days ago suggests that infection growth slightly impacts trip volumes. In the next model, the dependent variable is trips per person. We see a similar pattern. yesterday's trips per person have a strong positive effect, while lagged new cases show a small but significant negative relationship. This means that higher infection numbers tend to slightly reduce the average number of trips people take the following day. Finally, we look at trip miles per person, which measures total travel distance per individual. The regression results again show a very high R2, above 0.9, indicating the model explains most of the variance. The coefficient for lagged COVID-19 cases is small but significant, meaning as cases rise, people not only make fewer trips, but also travel shorter distances. This confirms that public health trends have a measurable lagged effect on how far and how often people move. Thank you for watching this lecture on analyzing the relationship between trip production and infected cases. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Please visit our website at inform-africa.org and feel free to contact us by email. This is the last video of this training session. Thanks for your attention.